Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today I'm going to give you 10 addictive winter fragrances that I just can't get enough of. So let's jump into it. All right, so today we are talking winter fragrances and we're talking addictive winter fragrances. We're talking about fragrances that I can't walk past my shelf without taking the bottle off, pulling that cap off, giving a little sniff, maybe spraying it in the air just to get a little sample of it, just to get my hit for the day, because I absolutely love these fragrances and they are perfect for the winter time. So I got 10 of them for you. So let's quit screwing around. Let's get into it. All right, so kicking things off, we're gonna start with a fragrance that is just near and dear to my heart. It's been one of the OGs in my collection since I went down this rabbit hole of fragrance collecting. I absolutely love this one. It's VIKTOR and ROLF's SPICEBOMB, the original. Now you can pick this sucker up for about $80 at various discounters, and admittedly I picked this one up because I liked the bottle, because I'm a bit of a child and I wanted a hand grenade on my shelf with a little pull pin. But the scent accord in here is just absolutely intoxicating. I just cannot get enough of this. When I first smelled this, I absolutely fell in love. Cinnamon, pink pepper, tobacco, a little bit of saffron, some vetiver, a chili note that's mixed in there. It's a perfect balance of these like nose tickling spices mixed with a little bit of sweetness with that kind of bold tobacco that goes in there, and it's absolutely intoxicating. A spice bomb, if you will, just perfectly balanced, and absolutely adore this fragrance. Performance on this, I get about 6 up to 8 hours if I get some on my clothing. Projection is fairly moderate for the first 2 hours. I'll just reapply this all day, every day, just so I can just re-experience this over and over again. I grab this off my shelf almost on a daily basis just to give this a quick whiff, because this is an absolute lady killer, one of my favorite fragrances of all time. Highly recommend. If you've never tried this one out, you're missing out, I'm telling you. That's VIKTOR and ROLF's SPICEBOMB, the original. All right, up next we got one from the house of Rasasi, and it's Rasasi's Satur. Wow. And you can pick this bad boy up for $43 at various discounters. And let me tell you, this has that wow factor. I'm sorry. Cinnamon, cardamom, and pepper is the opening for this. A very nice, spicy, rich style of opening to this. Has this saffron and this kind of nutty, woody accord that works into the mid. Kind of smooths things out, adds a little bit of kind of depth to this, a little bit of richness to this. As it kind of works through a little bit more, you get some of this nice balsam resin that works through with a little bit of amber, giving you this nice kind of sweet, warm, ambery feel with a little bit of kind of thickness, a little bit of depth happening to it with those spices and that kind of nutty, woody accord sitting at the top. And as this dries down, you get some nice, soft, creamy woods that kind of come through, and it just makes this an absolutely gorgeous, elegant, sophisticated, rich style of fragrance. It's like walking through kind of like a Middle Eastern spice market, a little bit of hint of sweetness in the air, some dry woods kind of lying about. It's probably the best way I could illustrate this one. Absolutely gorgeous scent profile in it, very unique, and something I absolutely love and love wearing in the winter because it performs absolutely fantastic. 8+ hours off my skin, and the projection on this, pretty good for about 2-3 hours before it does settle back in. Awesome winter style fragrance. I can't get enough of this one. Definitely worth checking out. That's Rasasi's Satur. Wow. All right, up next we got one from the house of Jesus del Polo, and it's not the one you're thinking of. It's Halloween Man Shot. Now you can pick this sucker up for $30 at various discounters, and not enough people talk about this one. This one is an amazing fragrance. I love how this one comes across. It's got cardamom, it's got pepper, it's got iris, vanilla, amber, and this really interesting daiquiri note that goes into it. So let me tell you what I get from this. This has been kind of compared to a couple fragrances, and I think it's kind of a hybrid twist of them both. It has some similarities to Dolce & Gabbana's The One. It also has some similarities to YSL's La Nuit de l'Homme. The cardamom in La Nuit de l'Homme is very kind of similar in this one. Some of the kind of spice medley that works in The One is also very familiar in this scent, but it's like those two fragrances kind of came together, had a love child that's a little bit more youthful, a little bit more playful, a little bit more flirty, hanging out at a party, and it got a daiquiri thrown on them. It's kind of how this one comes across. It's the best way to explain it. Really nice, familiar scent profile to it, but it has that kind of added daiquiri note to give it a little bit of brightness, but it has those nice spices in it. It has that nice kind of vanilla. The iris in this gives it this added powderiness, this little bit of floral sweetness to it that kind of separates it from those two other designer fragrances I mentioned, giving it its own kind of personality, its own little flair, and its own little kind of flirty side to it. Beautiful centicord to this. Performance on this is average, maybe a little bit below 5-6 hours of longevity off my skin, and projection for the first hour and a half is moderate before it does settle back in. So performance is not huge, but the scent profile is absolutely delicious. Love wearing this one throughout the winter. Definitely worth checking out. That's Jesus Del Polo's Halloween Man Shot. All right, up next we got one from the House of Paris Corner, and it's Paris Corner's Charuto Mysterious Tobacco. And you can pick this bad boy up for $35 at various discounters, and this is said to be a clone of Carolina Herrera's Mystery Tobacco. I can't confirm nor deny that because I don't own that fragrance, but let me tell you, this is an absolutely beautiful, addictive style of tobacco fragrance. It's got this note of osmanthus in it, with that tobacco, some patchouli, some woods that's mixed in there. Nice kind of creamy style of tonka that works in there, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's got this kind of fresh style of tobacco that mixes with that osmanthus, so it gives it this kind of like earthiness but this fruit sweetness to it, like a stone fruit, like an apricot, maybe a little bit of a peach kind of note that works in there. The patchouli adds some earthiness to it, a little bit of kind of a hint of this chocolate accord with those woods, giving it kind of a nice masculine base to it, and the creamy tonka kind of giving it a little bit of kind of a roasted feel, a little bit of a creamy feel at the same time, and adding just a little bit of added sweetness to it. Absolutely a beautiful scent accord. This is like a wet pipe tobacco sitting in an old wooden pipe, sitting kind of near a peach orchard or an apricot orchard. That's probably the best way to illustrate this one. Beautiful, masculine, sort of sweet tobacco style of fragrance. Absolutely gorgeous. Performance on this, 6-7 hours of longevity, so it's pretty good, especially for kind of that sweet style of tobacco. I find this performs very well, but the projection on this is moderate. This doesn't blast off my skin necessarily, but you will get a nice, delicious scent bubble for that hour and a half to 2 hours. Absolutely gorgeous for $35, totally worth it, and definitely worth checking out. That's Paris Corner's Charuto Mysterious Tobacco. All right, up next we're moving to the House of LALIQUE, and this is one you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it, and I just happen to love it. It's ENCRE Noir à l'Extrême. Now you can pick this bad boy up for $33 at various discounters, and the ENCRE Noir line is no secret. It is a very divisive style of fragrance. You either really like it or you really don't like it, and I happen to really like it. I like the OG, but I like the à l'Extrême even more. It has that same sort of DNA, that cypress, that vetiver, that very dark, rooty, earthy, almost kind of bitter style of scent accord going with that cypress and vetiver, but it has this kind of added benzoin, some incense, and some patchouli, just to give it a little bit more character, add this kind of edge of balsamic sweetness, a little bit of smokiness to it, and a little bit more earthiness to it, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I love how unique this is. I love how moody this is, and I just can't get enough of it. It just has this dark, compelling, and addictive sort of scent accord going on to it. It's like ENCRE Noir had a son that kind of goes to like these outdoor metal shows. That's kind of what this reminds me of. It has a little bit more of kind of a youthful vibe to it, a little bit more energy to it with that added kind of incense and that benzoate, that added like balsamic sweetness to it. Absolutely gorgeous, but again, not for everybody. But this is one that I can't help but walk past my shelf and give this a whiff every so often because it's so unique, because it smells like nothing else in my collection. Absolutely love it. Performance on this, 7-8 hours off my skin, no problem. And projection is moderate, which I'm kind of happy about. I don't want to be blasting out a room with this one. This is a little bit more of an intimate personal scent that I really, really enjoy. Absolutely addictive, fantastic winter style fragrance. That's LALIQUE's ENCRE Noir à l'Extrême. All right, up next we got one from the House of Lattafa, and it's Lattafa's RAGHBA Wood Intense. Now you can pick this bad boy up for $18, and if you've been following this channel for any period of time, you'll know that this is one of my favorite Lattafa fragrances because it's just absolutely delicious. It's got this smoky, bold, masculine, yet playful sort of vibe going on to it. It's sugar, it's delicious. It's caramel, it's incense, woods, vanilla, some amber, and a little kiss of oud that comes out. This has this beautiful burnt sugar accord that has this kind of caramel coating that goes on it. This incensey woods that kind of comes out, giving a really nice smoky, bold, sort of dark sort of vibe going on to it. With those two kind of intermingling, it gives you this kind of like sitting by the campfire, roasting marshmallow sort of vibe going on to it. The oud in this is very, very subtle. It sits in the background. It just gives it a little bit of a kiss of a Middle Eastern fragrance. Just kind of pokes its head out a little bit and says, hey, oud's way back here, but it's not an overbearing oud. It's not a dominant oud. It's almost barely noticeable, and it's a very woody style of oud that comes through. Awesome, awesome, delicious, smoky, bold, masculine style of fragrance. Not going to be for everybody. This is apparently a little bit challenging. I don't understand why, because I absolutely love this one. I just walk past my shelf all the time and just give this a whiff, because that burnt sugar accord with those smoky woods is absolutely delicious, and the performance on this is fantastic. 10 plus hours off my skin, no problem. Projection's pretty heavy for the first 2 to 3 hours before it settles back in. For $18, this is an absolute steal of a deal. One of my favorite purchases. Definitely think you should be checking it out. That's Lattafa's RAGHBA Wooden Tents. All right, up next we got one for the Dua brand house, and it's Café de Dua 2.0. Now you can pick this bad boy up for $65 for a 30 ml, so it is a little bit on the pricey side, but let me tell you, this is one of the most realistic coffee gourmet, you know, fancy latte style of fragrances I've ever come across in my entire life. It's black coffee, toffee, praline, salted caramel, tonka, chestnuts, apparently biscotti and croissant notes are somehow mixed into this one. It is like stepping into a small, cozy, artisanal style of cafe and dropping $12 on one of their fancy dessert drinks. That's pretty much exactly what this is. It's one of the most realistic cafe style of fragrances that I have ever come across. Because it has that kind of black coffee note that's in it, that's very forward, it does give it this kind of masculine edge to it, but it does have all those sweet accords that kind of surround it. It's like that caramel drizzle, that kind of like whipped cream accord with those chestnuts. It's very warm, very cozy, very delicious, and very addictive. This one, if you're wearing it, you're gonna get kidnapped by a van full of soccer moms wearing Ugg boots. That's just how photorealistic this one is. And the performance on this is fantastic. I get about 10 plus hours of longevity off my skin. In the first hour and a half, 2 hours, this does push off pretty heavy before it does settle back in. So performance on this is fantastic. Scent profile on this is fantastic. Absolutely worth checking out. That's Café de Dua's 2.0. All right, up next, we're moving back to the house of Lattafa, and it's Lattafa's Udane. Now you can pick this sucker up for $29 at various discounters, and I've already done a full review on this one, but I absolutely love this fragrance. This is a beautiful leather style of fragrance, and I believe a hidden gem within the Lattafa house. Not nearly as many people talk about this as they should, because it has this beautiful scent accord of orange, saffron, caramel, dry amber, vanilla, and tonka that comes through. So in the opening, you get this nice sweet style of orange that mixes with this very nice suede style of leather. It's got a bit of a softness to it, mixing with that kind of sweet citrusy orange, and that caramel starts to come through, kind of adding a little bit of kind of that thick sugary sweetness on top of that citrus sweetness. Beautiful combination of those sweet notes mixing in with that kind of leathery style of saffron. As this develops, you get more of that dry amber that starts to come through. So it gives it this kind of dusty, woody style of vibe that mixes with that leather, adding a lot of masculinity to it, a lot of boldness to it, but it has those kind of sweet accords that sit around the edges and just kind of tame that down just a bit. The vanilla and the tonka come through, adding just a little bit of smoothness, a little bit more kind of creaminess to it, and a little bit different scent accord in terms of the sweetness. But as this is settled down, this is basically like sitting in the nice dry woods, wearing a dusty old suede jacket, eating an orange creamsicle, if you can picture that. That's pretty much what this one smells like through and through. Leather forward, nice dry woods, but some beautiful caramel, orange, vanilla scent accords that work its way through, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Very masculine, very bold, but also kind of fun and flirty at the same point. Performance on this is fantastic. I get 10 plus hours of longevity off this, and for the first 2-3 hours, this does push out fairly moderately. First hour, I'd say it pushes out pretty hard, but it does settle back in after that. Great performance, great scent accord, one of my favorite leather fragrances, definitely worth checking out. That's Lattafa's Udane. All right, next up we got one that probably needs no introduction. It's Mercedes-Benz Club Black. Now you can pick this bad boy up for $40 at various discounters, and at the time of recording this, this is available at Fragrance Buy and Perfumes Online, I believe. So if you've been waiting to get it, now's your time, because this one can be a little hard to come by because it is absolutely beautiful vanilla bomb. It's vanilla, it's vanilla, it's vanilla, and it's even more vanilla. Incense, benzoin, jasmine, and woods are also mixed in here. This has a beautiful smoky style of vanilla sitting on some really nice masculine woods, and it's just got this just opulent, rich, thick, like thick with 2 C's style of vanilla that I absolutely love. Just smelling this in the air right now is making my mouth water. This is such a just a delicious style of fragrance. So addictive, so perfect for the winter. Just sexy, elegant, masculine, and just has a bit of a mysterious vibe to it with that incense that mixes in there. It's just absolutely intoxicating. Definitely worth checking out. Performance on this, I get about 6 to 8 hours of longevity, and it does project fairly nice for the first 2 hours. So definitely worth checking out. $40 is worth every single penny. This is backup bottle worthy. I'm probably gonna scoop up another bottle of this because I love this one so much. Definitely worth checking out. That's Mercedes-Benz Club Black. All right, last, but certainly not least, we got a new one from the House of ARMAF, and it's Club de Nuit Untold. Now, when this is available, it is $50 at Fragrance Buy. It's currently sold out at the time of recording this, but just set some email notifications for when this does get restocked, because this one is one of the best Baccarat Rouge 540 clones I have ever come across. It's got that beautiful kind of ethereal, airy, light, sugary cotton candy sort of vibe going on to it. A little bit of this kind of this greenness to it, a little bit of freshness in the opening, but as this kind of develops, it gets a little bit thicker, a little bit denser, and just has this beautiful, sugary, ambery deliciousness to it. Very soft, very elegant, beautiful, addictive style of fragrance. If you smelled any other clones of Baccarat Rouge 540 or Baccarat Rouge 540 itself, this one is absolutely gorgeous. A really great interpretation of that fragrance. One of the best clones, if not the best clone on the market currently. Absolutely love it. Performance on this is fantastic, like 10, 12 hours of longevity, no problem. And does push off really nice for the first 2-3 hours. Fantastic. For me, $50 was worth every single penny because I love the scent accords on this one. Super sexy, super addictive, super awesome. Definitely worth checking out. That's ARMAF's Club de Nuit Untold. All right, so there you have it. That's 10 addictive winter fragrances that I think you should know about. And I want to hear from you guys. What's one of your fragrances that is absolutely addictive for you? Like you walk past your shelf and you just have to grab it and give it a sniff, spray it in the air, just to get your fix for the day. Comment down below. Love hearing from you guys. Love getting your different recommendations, your different taste profiles. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.